All right, thanks, guys. Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday to you. We got some lines out for tonight's MLB action, but before we get into that, I just want to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented record of 8-2-1 in my last 11 daily best plays, you're hurting yourself each and every day you're not subscribed. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. I also want to give a big shout out, a big thank you to my headline sponsor for today's program. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. And if you like making money on sports, there's no reason why you shouldn't check out one or more of their very affordable money-making packages. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. GhostPicksATS.com. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our Thursday slate of baseball games and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And leading off, we've got Diamondbacks, Cubs, 220 Chicago, and a flip of the lines in this one already. The D-backs open plus $1.10. They're now minus 105. Totals 9.5. And at the moment, we are looking at Zach Godley for Arizona, Tyler Chatwood for Chicago. And speaking of Chicago, real good in their games at Wrigley this year. 32-19 in their contests at home. The Cubbies are also 6-0-7 in their games at the current market price. Now, total-wise, 3-0 to the under in these teams' 3 head-to-head matchups. Arizona's also 14-7 to the under when taking on winning ball clubs. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and take the underdog Chicago Cubs, winning this one outright, and the under 9.5. Next game, White Sox Angels 407, the Big A, and much to my surprise here, a 10-cent fade of the Angels in the early rounds of betting. Los Angeles opened $1.90 down to $1.80. Totals 9 flat. And at the moment, we've got Dylan Covey for the Sox, Nick Tropiano for the Halos. And speaking of Los Angeles, they've done a really good job taking care of losing ball clubs. And as a matter of fact, they've gone 26-15 versus teams under 500. They're also taking on a White Sox team who's won just 5 of 17 at the current moneyline price. Now, scoring-wise, Angels games went just 2-10 to the over at home when the line was 9 or higher. Meanwhile, on the White Sox side of things, 2 out of their 3 head-to-head matchups with LA fell under the line as well. So with all those factors in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Angels run line and the under 9 flat. Next game, Royals-Yankees, 7:05 New York, and a 10-cent move toward the Bombers in the early going here. The Yanks open 260 up to 270. Totals 9.5. 75% are still leaning toward New York. And at the moment, we've got Jake Junis for the Royals, Sonny Gray for the Yankees. And speaking of this New York squad, they've been awesome in their games at Yankee Stadium. 32-12 in their contests as the official home favorite. They're also taking on a KC squad who's a winless 0-8 in their games played at the current market price. Now, scoring-wise, New York 16-9 to the over, taking on teams scoring less than 4 runs per contest. Meanwhile, on the other side, KC's gone 10-5 to the over on the road when the line was 9 or higher. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Yankees run line and the over 9.5. Next game, Mets-Pirates. 7:05 Pittsburgh, and a 20-cent fade of the Pirates in the early going here. They opened $1.75 down to $1.55. Total also opened 8.5 down to 8 flat. And pitching-wise, we are looking at Steven Matz for the Mets, Nick Kingham for the Pirates. And speaking of the Pirates, incredible run as of late to put them 3 games over, 13-2 in their last 15. The Buccos have also been solid against losing organizations, going 23-13 in their matchups versus clubs under 500. Now, scoring-wise, just 7 out of 19 Steven Matz starts actually got over the line. The Mets have also gone 21-14 to the under when the line was 8 to 8.5. So with all those variables in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the Pirates outright and the under 8 flat. Next game, Twins, Red Sox, 7-10 Boston, and a 15-cent fade of the Bo Sox in the early going here. They opened $1.70 down to $1.55. Total also opened 10 up to 10.5. Little buyback on the handle, though, as 72% of the current public bettors are back on Boston. Look for their price to once again increase by first pitch. And at the moment, we've got Kyle Gibson for the Twins, Brian Johnson for the Bo Sox. And speaking of Boston, oh my goodness. And speaking of the Boston Red Sox, real good in these games where Johnson makes a start, 4-1 in their contest where Brian throws the first pitch. Boston's also been virtually unbeatable as the favorite, 61-22 in their games when favored. Now, scoring-wise, Boston is just 2-3 to the over when Johnson makes the start. They've also gone just 13-18 to the over at home when the line was 9 or higher. So with all those trends in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Boston Red Sox winning it outright in the under 10.5. Next game, Phils Reds, 7-10 Cincinnati, and a 10-cent fade of the Phils in the early going here. Cincy opened 120 up to 130, totals 9.5. The Phils get the 1.5. And at the moment, we are looking at Ranger Suarez making his first start for Philly, Tyler Mahle taking the bump for Cincy. And speaking of the Reds, real good in their games when favored. 600 baseball is the official Vegas favorite. They're also taking on a Phil squad who's got a pitcher making his first start, while also going just 19-21 in their games as the official road underdog. Now, total-wise, 13-7 to the under when Tyler Mahle makes the first pitch. Meanwhile, on the other side, Philly's gone 18-10 to the under when taking on losing ball clubs. So all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and take the Cincinnati Reds outright in the under 9.5. Next game, Nats Fish, 7-10 Miami, and a massive 40-cent fade of the Nationals in the early going here. They opened $1.75 all the way down to $1.35. Total also opened 8 up to 8.5. And at the moment, 64% of the current bettors are back on the Nationals, so that buyback should increase their price a nickel or two by first pitch if that betting trend continues. Now, pitching-wise, we are looking at Tommy Milone making his first start for Washington. Dan Straley getting it done on the hill for Miami. And speaking of the Marlins, not bad when Straley makes the first pitch. 8-7 in their games where Straley takes the bump. They're also taking on a Washington team who's dropped 2 of their last 3 and 5 out of their last 8. Now, total-wise, 10-5 of the over for the Marlins when Dan Straley makes the start. Meanwhile, on the other side, 4-3 to the over in Washington's head-to-head matchups with the Fish. So all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and take the underdog Miami Marlins catching the plus money at home and the over 8.5. Next game, Dodgers Braves, 7:35 Atlanta, and a 10-cent fade of the Dodgers in the early going here. They open 125 down to 115. Total also open 9 down to 8.5. Currently, 59% of the public bettors are still leaning toward Atlanta. And at the moment, we got Rich Hill for the Dodgers, Anibal Sanchez for the Braves. And speaking of Atlanta, 8-4 in their games where Sanchez makes the first pitch. They're also taking on a Dodger team who's won just 5 of 12 when Hill made the start themselves. Now, scoring-wise, 9-3 to the over in these Rich Hill starts. Meanwhile, on the Atlanta side of things, 3-0 to the over when taking on the Dodgers. So all those trends in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take the underdog Braves in the over 8.5. Next game, A's Rangers, 8:05 Arlington, Texas, and no surprises here as Oakland took most of the early money. They opened 130 up to 135. Total open 11.5 down to 11 flat. Currently 73% are leaning Oakland, and at the moment we've got Trevor Cahill for the Athletics, Bartolo Colon for the Rangers. And speaking of the Rangers, real bad as the home dog, winning just 13 of 40 in that category. They're also taking on an Oakland squad who's been dominant against losing ball clubs, 28-11 versus teams under 500 for the Athletics. Now, scoring-wise, 12-6 to the under in these Bartolo Colon starts. Meanwhile, on the other side, Oakland's gone 8-4 to the under in their head-to-head matchups with Texas, depending on where you're shopping at. Now, all those stats in mind, I am going to go ahead and take the Oakland A's winning this one outright and the under 11 flat. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Brewers-Giants, 10-15 San Francisco, and a 20-cent fade of the Giants at home here. They open 130 down to 110. Totals 8 flat, and at the moment we've got Wade Miley for the Brewers, Derek Rodriguez for the Giants. And speaking of San Fran, virtually unbeatable in these Derek Rodriguez starts. 7-1 when Derek makes the first pitch. The Giants have also been real good at the Cove, going 20-11 in their games as the official home favorite. Now, total-wise, 5 of 8 Derek Rodriguez starts stayed under the line. San Fran's also 37% to the under versus teams averaging more than 4 runs per contest. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Giants winning this one outright in the under 8 flat. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just have to remind you to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage. You really want to take a look at that. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, you're hurting yourself each and every day you're not subscribed. There's also plenty of free content there as well. I'm also on an 8-2-1 daily best play run in my last 11 daily best play picks. So once again, please feel free. You got to check that out. Please feel free to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And I also want to remind you to check out my headline sponsor. That's Jimmy and the boys at GhostPicksATS.com. Jimmy and his team of young, hungry, expert consultants at Ghost Picks are the most passionate in the business. And if you thought I was good at handicapping games, these guys are amongst the best in the industry. And as always, thank you for watching today's program. I hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check out my daily best play at patreon.com/BrockPage.